DarkDox Digest. DarkDox Digest.
Welcome to DarkDox Digest. Today is Tuesday, February 11th, 2025, and the DEMS are done. I'm your host, Christian Coffins.
DarkDox Digest. DarkDox Digest.
Oh, happy Tuesday, everyone. Give me a second here while I get my phone situated so I can look at the comments. You see, that's how I do it on this thing. And it was all the way across the room, and I ran over during the intro to go grab my phone because I can't. It's like the first time I've ever done that. Okay, so now I'm watching it on my phone because I also like to watch the show on my phone and make sure that everything is working. And then also, like, when my mic's off or something and someone in the chat can be like, hey, your microphone is off, douche. All right, now we're back at SeaWorld, and I can turn the date off and the lower third up and bring me back over. I'm back over in the frame here. How's everyone doing? Hey, Data Battle Z, give it up, everyone, for the legendary Data Battle Z. Him and Jacob Engels, very busy, very demure, and we're gonna get into that. And I have so much tabbed out. Look at this, it's crazy. I'm not even gonna give you any foreplay. We're gonna go right to it. JFK, 9/11, UFOs, Epstein, COVID-19, RFK, and MLK investigations are all being launched. Greg Fernandez Jr. See, whenever I say their name, I have to find them on here. I have to have a better way of doing this. Greg, he re-uploaded all these. Thanks for that, because clips make my job so much easier. Here we go.
A few weeks ago, President Donald Trump made a historic announcement. With the stroke of a pen, he committed to declassifying the files concerning the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. A decision not just monumental, but pivotal. It is with profound honor that I have been entrusted by Speaker Mike Johnson and Chairman James Comer to lead the House Oversight Task Force on Declassification of Federal Secrets. Together with the help of the White House, our intelligence allies, the Department of Defense, the Department of Justice, we will be conducting investigations into the following: the assassinations of JFK, RFK, and Dr. Martin Luther King, unidentified aerial phenomena, also known as UAPs, unidentified submerged objects, also known as USOs, the Epstein client list, the origins of COVID-19, and the 9/11 files.
They're literally the X-Files. Like, they could have gotten someone that looked more like David Duchovny. This is, Mulder should have been a redhead, but, this is amazing. Like, the X-Files is finally happening in real life, IRL. Trump brought that to us. We wrote the song Inside Job, where literally the lyrics for the verse are JFK, RFK, MLK, KKK. We've been lied to about all that shit. And here we are. This is fantastic.
This task force will be a beacon of bipartisanship. On the Republican side, Representatives Burchett, Boebert, Burleson, Crane, Gill, and Mace will be joining me, although I'd like to note that I'm expanding this to the entire governing body and will be allowing certain members to waive on. Our first hearing is set for March. The date will be announced soon, and we've already initiated close to a dozen communications with various agencies, to include Pam Bondi at the Department of Justice and the Secretary of State. This will no longer be a task force that makes bold promises only to fade into irrelevance or send strongly worded letters. This will be a relentless pursuit of truth and transparency, and we will not stop until the American people have the answers they deserve. We will cut through the bureaucracy, challenge the stonewalling, and ensure that the American people finally get the truth that they have been denied for too long. If we are to endure and thrive as a nation, we must restore trust through transparency. The American people must be trusted to think for themselves, to form their own judgments from the truth that they are entitled to know. We've been treated like children for too long and kept in the dark by those we elected to serve us. It is my solemn duty to begin mending this trust, to form a new relationship between the government and the governed. Let us embark on this journey together towards a government that does not serve, but one that enlightens. That does not just serve, but one that enlightens.
The body language is really interesting here. You have, he's really holding his jacket tight. Maybe he's a little nervous, but I mean, I'd be nervous too. I mean, they're really putting themselves in the crosshairs here with the Epstein list and, you know, all these different, it's going to expose all of the criminal crime families here in the United States, and I'm here for it.
Trust through transparency, that begins now.
Yeah. And that brings me to the next John Bound report, because I think what we're seeing here is the age of plausible deniability is over. Let's watch.
I wish more would have been done.
Plausible deniability only works when it's plausible.
Plausible deniability. It is a term allowing high-ranking officials to deny any responsibility regarding illegal activities. The term was first hatched by the arrogance of Allen Dulles' 1960s CIA. Plausible deniability surrounded the JFK assassination.
Who killed John F. Kennedy? The commission answers unequivocally, Lee Harvey Oswald.
In 1953, they both took office. John Foster Dulles became Secretary of State. Allen Dulles became director of the CIA. It's the only time in history that siblings control the overt and the covert sides of American foreign policy.
And like the Dulles brothers who covertly got the United States into foreign entanglements worldwide, to put it mildly, the Biden brothers are using the very same terminology, plausible deniability, to protect their untouchable sellout scheme.
Mr. Biden! Hi, do you care to answer some questions? No. Just wondering, why did you
looks like
involve
Larry David.
Joe Biden in your China deal? Why did you and Hunter Biden want
Hey,
Joe
it's the gray
Biden
stage.
to meet with Tony B?
What are you talking about?
Are you Mr. Jim Biden? I wanted to ask you about the China deal.
Are you Jake
What
Newman?
about the plausible deniability? Did you tell Tony B plausible deniability?
I remember looking at Jim Biden and saying, how are you guys getting away with this? Like, aren't you concerned? And he looked at me and he laughed a little bit and said, plausible deniability.
FBI, fidelity, bravery, integrity. And there's the war map, pins tagged with the names of special agents and placed where the agents are.
Mr. Johnson, I think it's going to be necessary to enlarge the detail of agents at Little Rock, Arkansas.
Since its inception, the FBI has operated as a two-tiered agency. One, a respected force of G-men hunting down dangerous outlaws and serial killers, and another we can call the Deep State FBI, an upper echelon of political thugs.
Did FDR ask the Bureau to investigate his wife?
Yes, he did. He had information, and I don't know from where, but he asked Hoover at that particular time to put a surveillance on Mrs. Roosevelt for the purpose of determining whether or not she was having secret rendezvous with a certain Army colonel and with a state trooper in New York. And we did that accordingly at the instructions of the president, which brings up to mind the FBI has been used or misused by many presidents. And
did you ever get any sense of what the president did with the information?
None whatsoever, and we could care less. Frankly, it was misusage of the FBI by a president. And I think here again that President Roosevelt misused the FBI more than any other president, although they have been used by most all presidents since the beginning or since the inception of the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
The Deep State FBI is now front and center in a developing plot to mislead the American people. Not about individual Americans like, for instance, MLK, JFK, or John Lennon, but the American people itself. 5 years after Seth Rich's mysterious death and due to a FOIA request, the FBI quietly released 137 pages of heavily redacted documents detailing internal emails and memos of the FBI. 68 of those pages regarded their interest in investigation into Rich's death. These documents followed years of the FBI claiming that they had no involvement in the Seth Rich case, yet they used Seth Rich's murder as padding for their Russia conspiracy hoax that fell apart. The very first email is dated a month after Seth Rich's murder and involves the notorious adulterous FBI duo Strzok and Page. Evidently, Strzok, intending to impress Page, claims that for her situational awareness, he squashed the Seth Rich situation with an unknown redacted person or act. More emails reveal that the FBI came into possession of Rich's laptop. The page also indicates that authorities were not aware if the person deleted or changed anything on Rich's personal laptop.
Why has D.C. police, as the lead agency on the investigation for the past 10 months, insisted this was a botched robbery when till this day there is no evidence to suggest that?
John Bound reporting.
It's
that was a good
February
one.
2025. We now have our
That's right.
third incredible off-road vehicle
You go to thealexjonesstore.com/DarkDox.
Everybody
You
that
can,
spends even $1 at
every dollar you get
thealexjonesstore.com
10x
get the
entries
very
into
best
getting
supplements,
that
the widest selection of Patriot apparel, collectible
pretty
knives
awesome
and more.
Raptor.
We'll
So,
get 10x
and we get 10% of whatever you buy. So
in the new
thanks.
sweeps.
And take the supplements, because they're working. Look at Alex. Look at me. I don't work out at all, and I feel like I'm in peak health, and I'm just taking all of these stuff. And actually, I just got the Atomic Defense. That shit's awesome. I'm gonna start the shows, just with Donald Trump's X, because it's been gone for so long. Well, Twitter feed, and he's the president now, so it's the most relevant stuff going on. Billions of dollars, and I get to do my Donald Trump, I get to practice my craft here. Billions of dollars of fraud, waste, and abuse, I'm terrible at it, has already been found in the investigation of our incompetently run government. Now certain activists and highly political judges want us to slow down or stop. Losing this momentum will be the very detriment of finding the truth, which is turning out to be a disaster for those involved in running our government. Much left to find, no excuses. They're on the war path, man. Yeah. Wow. I am hereby instructing Secretary Lee Zeldin to immediately go back on my environmental orders, which were terminated by crooked Joe Biden on water standards and flow pertaining to the sink, showers, toilets, and washing machines, etc., and to likewise go back to common sense standards on light bulbs that were put in place by the Trump administration. We get Edison bulbs back. That makes me happy. Thanks, Trump. I could go on. You should follow real Donald J. Trump on X. FEMA halts migrant housing funds in New York after Musk criticism. The acting head of the federal agency responsible for responding to disasters says he is suspending payments sent to New York City to house migrants, and that staff who made them will be held accountable. Good. Got too much to do today to really focus. All the links are in the description if you knew. They imported voters to stack the election, Elon Musk.
New York's top court set to consider non-citizen voting in New York City elections today. Get this. Non-citizens, you don't belong here, you're not registered, blowing off court appearance, doesn't matter. That would add 800,000 non-citizen voters. Why is this even a discussion?
It shouldn't be. New York Republicans fought back against this effort several years ago. We were victorious in the lower court and the appellate division, and now it goes to the Court of Appeals. Unfortunately, I'm a little bit concerned because the New York Court of Appeals has been corrupted by Kathy Hochul and New York Democrats. This is why they tried to gerrymander our maps again last year. They added people who are way too progressive for the court to try and move the court in a different direction. I am concerned, certainly, that the Court of Appeals will make a political decision and not follow the Constitution. It is very clear. Non-citizens do not have the right to vote in our elections, period. There's a reason New York is a sanctuary state and city, though. And the reason is they want illegal immigrants counted as part of the census. That gives them more congressional seats and it gives them more electoral votes. That's what this all boils down to. They want them to be able to vote in our elections. I fundamentally believe that it is wrong. It violates both the U.S. and state, New York State constitutions and needs to be prohibited. And if the court had any courage or any conviction at all, it will reject this outright today.
You would think, because they want to loosen up that. Next thing you know, non-citizens voting in general elections. They'll figure out a way to do that.
Get the fuck out. Bronx, New York. By the end of this month, Mayor Eric Adams is planning on moving 2,200 migrant men into this building in the Bronx, despite the Trump administration cracking down on illegal immigration. Eric Adams is still requesting $1.1 billion to house illegals in New York City. Savannah Hernandez, follow her, Sav_says_ on X.
This is Savannah Hernandez in the Bronx, and I wanted to bring you guys to this building behind me because 2,200 migrant men are about to be relocated to this area, and the Bronx residents are extremely upset about this because they state that they had zero input or zero say on migrants being relocated to this building. Now, I wanted to come to sanctuary cities specifically to show Americans that even though the Trump administration has taken office and they're cracking down on illegal immigration, of course, sanctuary cities like New York are still allocating contracts and hundreds of millions of dollars to housing illegal immigrants. So, for example, in this building behind me, you just had a women and minority-owned business given a $340,000 construction management contract back in December. On top of that, you also have Garner Environmental Services, who were awarded a $450 million management contract to manage these shelters throughout the entire city of New York. So I wanted to bring you to this location because residents of the Bronx have been extremely upset about this. They've actually been protesting it because they state that no city officials actually asked them their input on whether or not they wanted these migrants relocated to this area. Also, Mayor Eric Adams is set to testify in front of the House Oversight Committee regarding his sanctuary city policies. And as you guys can see behind me, you have a lot of tables, chairs, trash cans, and such in this building as they prepare to bring all of these migrants this way. Now, something interesting about this building is that it was marketed as a 20-foot ceiling, breathtaking water and skyline view with a rooftop terrace area. Okay, this is a fairly nice building. And instead of renovating it for the residents of the Bronx, instead of trying to make it a nice location for American citizens or New Yorkers, instead 2,200 migrants are going to be relocated to this area. Now, this is just step one. Step two, of course, is permanent housing. And what we are seeing from sanctuary cities and states across the nation is that once they put migrants in these temporary shelters, they then try to give them permanent housing to further hide or disperse them throughout the state. So wanted to give you guys an idea of what's happening here in the Bronx. It doesn't seem to be getting too much light that 2,200 migrants are about to be moved into this location, but I did want to come and help the Bronx residents out here bring light to their story.
Well, there you have it.
This is Savannah Hernandez in the Bronx, and I want...
Yeah. She definitely follow that chick. She's always boots on the ground. Like, I mean, with the fires, she was out there. She's always out there doing good stuff. But Greg Fernandez Jr. says that Eric Adams said something different at a press conference. So keep an eye out on his page for updates. Give me a clip. Need a clip. Let's see what's going on over here. Ah, yes. Elizabeth Pocahontas Warren confronted by reporter for making $12 million on a $200K salary in Congress.
Senator Warren, why are you so afraid of transparency? Why are you bothered by the fact that Elon Musk is attempting to expose all of this fraudulent spending? What is that about? What is the problem here? What is the problem with transparency? Do not touch me. Do not touch me. Senator Warren, I just want to answer a question. How did
His
you
body,
get
his
$12
choice.
million net worth on a $200,000 salary in Congress? How did you do that?
And she's a fake. Just like she said she was an Indian, and she wasn't an Indian. You have more Indian blood in you than she has. She went to...
I love that Trump is normalizing Indian again. Like, just like off the cuff like that.
college based on the fact that she was an Indian. She got jobs based on the fact that she was an Indian. She's a
He
fake.
says it over and over, too. Fantastic. Well done. Musk backs Ron Paul as Federal Reserve Chairman. Yes, please. Here's the proof. Charlie Kirk said, Ron Paul would make a great next chairman of the Federal Reserve. No other institution in American life has so eroded the purchasing power of working Americans as the Fed. And as a longtime critic and skeptic, Ron Paul would be a living and breathing forcing function to bring. Interesting. Read that book. I read that shit years ago. Do I remember it? Vaguely. CNN calls Musk hairy balls after he changes his X handle.
Now, the disruptor-in-chief, Elon Musk, who apparently has adopted the alias, at least he changed his social media handle to Hairy Balls, tweeted this morning, democracy in America is being destroyed by judicial coup. An activist judge is not a real judge. And as for
Fantastic. It's little things. Ilhan Omar's entire USA existence has been a series of scams against the American people.
Here's a big story from Daily Mail. And again, it's like, yeah, we know. Ilhan Omar did marry her brother and said she would do what she had to get him papers to keep him in the U.S., reveals Somali community leader. Ilhan Omar told friends years ago that the man who went on to become her second husband was in fact her brother. We know. No, we've known this forever. No, she committed immigration fraud. No, she's like not American. You get that, right? In no way,
I think Harrison
shape, or form
should keep the glasses
is she
on. What
American
do you
at all.
guys think?
She's an interloper. She has no respect for American law, no respect for American citizenship. She gives speeches in her own language to a crowd of Somalians about how she's going to benefit Somalia. Their strategy is they, find an area that's pretty solidly red, and elects a Republican congressman, and then they just move 100,000 Somalis into that district, and now that's their district, the Somalian district. Why is she allowed to be in this country, let alone have a position of authority?
Indeed. Trump calls for FEMA to be terminated after top officials caught sending $59 million to luxury hotels to house illegal aliens. Trump says FEMA spent tens of millions of dollars in Democrat areas disobeying orders, but left the people of North Carolina high and dry. It is now under review and investigation. The Biden-run FEMA has been a disaster. FEMA should be terminated. It has been slow and totally ineffective. Individual states should handle storms, etc. It's true. That's absolutely true. As they come, big saving, far more efficient. I mean, see, this is the old Ron Paul, small government, keep it local. Like, you don't need feds coming in telling you what plants you can have in your front yard. I mean, it's, yes, that. Very good. Oh, you got the non-citizen clip. Yeah. Oh, I haven't seen that.
So, disaster relief, this is a falsehood. Disaster relief funds used on immigrants illegally in the U.S. The fact is, no money is being diverted from response needs. That's the fact.
We do not have the funds, FEMA does not have the funds to make it through the season.
That did not age well.
So, disaster relief.
Feels good, doesn't it? Being right about everything. Yeah. I get off on it. Illy Crane drafts articles of impeachment against Obama appointee Judge Paul Engelmayer. Engelmayer. Taking to social media platform X, Representative Crane expressed his dismay, accusing Judge Engelmayer of partisan behavior and judicial overreach that threaten the foundational principles of American democracy. This is a republic. Bad. I'm drafting articles of impeachment for U.S. District Judge Paul Engelmayer, Crane wrote. Partisan judges abusing their positions is a threat to democracy. This is a republic. I will stop reading your article if you say it twice. Here we go. Elon Musk says Doge to investigate federal government workers who manage to accrue tens of millions of dollars in net worth. Let's watch it on X.
Could you mention some of the things that your team has found, some of the crazy numbers, including the woman that walked away with about $30 million?
Right.
Etc.
Well, we do find it sort of rather odd that there are quite a few people in the bureaucracy who have ostensibly a salary of a few $100,000, but somehow manage to accrue tens of millions of dollars in net worth while they are in that position, which is, what happened at USAID. We're just curious as to where it came from. Maybe they're very good at investing, in which case we should take their investment advice, perhaps. But just there seems to be mysteriously they get wealthy. We don't know why. Where does it come from? And I think the reality is that they're getting wealthy at the taxpayer expense. That's the honest truth of it. So, we're looking at, if you look at, say, Treasury, for example, basic controls that should be in place, that are in place in any company, such as making sure that any given payment has a payment categorization code, that there is a comment field that describes the payment, and that if a payment is on the do not pay list, that you don't actually pay it. None of those things are true currently. So the reason that departments...
Editor's note. His kid's really cute and all, but, it's distracting. It's hard to pay attention to what he's saying because, he's there doing... later in the video, you see he's, picking his nose, and he has him on his shoulders, and, I don't know. It's sweet, but, this is important. What do you guys think?
Can't pass audits is because the payments don't have a categorization code. It's like just a massive number of blank checks just flying out the building. So you can't reconcile blank checks. You've got comment fields that are also blank, so you don't know why the payment was made. And then we've got this truly absurd, a do not pay list, which can take up to a year for an organization to get on a do not pay list. And this, we're talking about terrorist organizations, we're talking about known fraudsters, known aspects of waste, known things that do not match any congressional appropriation, can take up to a year to get on the list, and even once on the list is not used. It's mind-blowing. So what we're talking about here, we're really just talking about adding common sense controls that should be present, that haven't been present. So they say, well, how could such a thing arise? That seems crazy. When you understand that really everything is geared towards complaint minimization, so then you understand the motivations. So if people receive money, they don't complain, obviously. But if people don't receive money, they do complain. And the fraudsters complain the loudest and the fastest. So then when you understand that, then it makes sense. Oh, that's why everything they approve all the payments at Treasury. Because if you approve all the payments, you don't get complaints. But now we're saying that, no, actually, we are going to complain. If money is spent badly, if your taxpayer dollars are not spent in a sensible and frugal manner, then that's not okay. Your tax dollars need to be spent wisely on things that matter to the people. I mean, these things, like it's just common sense. It's not draconian or radical. I think it's really just saying, let's look at each of these expenditures and say, is this actually in the best interest of the people? And if it is, it's approved. If it's not, we should think about it. So, there's crazy things like just cursory examination of Social Security, and we've got people in there that are 150 years old. Now, do you know anyone who's 150? I don't know. Okay. They should be on the Guinness Book of World Records. They're missing out.
Could you mention some of the things that...
Good stuff. I am pleased. Entrepreneur demolishes Jamie Raskin during congressional testimony. Apparently. Here's a clip.
Something similar to what you guys would call here the freedom cities in America. And I have been doing business, obviously, both in Africa as in the US. In the US, in the states of California, Texas, and New York. Mr. Raskin, your words earlier really, really worried me, and I will tell you why. When you say we are here, and we should be here to talk about Mr. Elon Musk and all the unconstitutional things that he's doing, and you said we shouldn't be here to talk about regulation or anything like that, first of all, I want to say, then why did you have me here? As an entrepreneur, my time is valuable. I came here because I thought we were going to talk about the regulatory state and why it matters. So you need to make up your mind on that. And I'm deeply offended by what you said there. And furthermore, I would tell you why I came when I was invited to speak on this. Because right now, everybody in this country, these issues of regulation, overregulation, has been made into a matter of partisanship. Are you from the left or are you from the right? I don't care. Because where I come from, the overregulation causes us to be where we are. My continent, Africa, is the poorest region in the world today because it happens to be the most overregulated region in the world. So if you don't see the value of overregulation, if you need and want to wait until this country becomes like most African countries, I don't know. I love this country and I don't want to see it go down there. So, and also, just so you know, what does overregulation mean for regular people? It means death, literally. People are packing themselves into little fishermen's boats, trying to leave nations that are overregulated, therefore no jobs, and then they have to leave and go seek jobs someplace else. By the way, English is only my fourth language, so when I trip on words, please excuse me, you all. Something similar to what you guys would...
I like it. I'm sorry. Some people, the way they look, like, I hate to be a dick, but you'll see. I'm gonna hide it for a second. Biden judge revises restrictions on access to Treasury payment systems. Keep ban on Doge in place. Treasury leadership exempted. I mean, seriously, that's the photo we're going with here. Wow. Oh. That's something else. Federal judge on Tuesday revised the restrictions on access to the Treasury payment system. As previously reported, corrupt Obama Judge Paul Engelmayer on Saturday issued an ex parte temporary restraining order, or TRO, forbidding all of the Trump appointees, including Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, from accessing Department of Treasury So the Treasury Secretary cannot access the Department of Treasury's data in response to a lawsuit filed by 19 Democrat state attorneys. They're scared. Look at this. I mean, this is like blatant. No, you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of during the election last time, not this most recent time, when they were putting paper over the windows. That's what this is. Gateway Pundit, link in the description. And here's the memorandum. Defendants in this action have filed an emergency motion to dissolve, clarify, or modify the ex parte temporary restraining order was entered by United States District Judge Paul A. Engelmayer, sitting in Part 1. The reasons stated herein, the court denies the motion to dissolve the February 8th trio. Yeah. Shit's happening. Democrat Congresswoman announces crude strategy at rally. We have to fuck Trump. Let's watch. Not watch her fuck Trump, but Jesus Christ. Okay.
I've been told I have 30 seconds, so I am going to tell you that we do have to. I don't swear in public very well, but we have to fuck Trump. Please don't tell my children that I just did that. I've been told I have.
Oh, you're in trouble, lady. That's sexual assault and battery. Yeah. So. You gross. UFO found. UFO found. New ETF filed with SEC claims to invest in reverse engineered alien technology. Gateway Pundit. Will alien technology be a manufacturing differential in the near future? Should you be investing in it? While many people are skeptical about the very existence of alien life, let alone the viability of utilizing alien tech, the folds at Tuttle Capital are making big bet on being a game changer in the economy and its markets. Weird. Federal judge orders Trump administration to restore gender ideology websites. They're mad. They're so mad. Don't do it. Border czar Tom Homan slams open border pope, indicates political raids of leftist organizations and ICE protest. Watch and see what happens.
With you real fast, or just real fast, can you give us clarity about what is happening to the previous terror detainees at Gitmo? Are they being expedited, being returned to their home countries, or are they just being housed?
Process. No, they're not being housed together. Process is still the same. The terrorists are still in the same facility. The process remains the same for them.
Is President Trump still trying to get that terror detention facility closed down so it's fully migrant detention, Ed?
Not my lane. Not my lane. I'm staying with the immigration enforcement.
Mr. Homan, is the president happy with the number of arrests?
I'm not. The arrests, if you look at the arrests in the interior enforcement, it's about 3 times higher than it was a year ago today. 3 times higher is good, but I'm not satisfied. There's more criminal aliens that need to be arrested, hundreds of thousands. Sanctuary cities are putting roadblocks up. We got leaks. So we need to increase the arrest of illegal aliens, especially those with criminal convictions. So we're going to continue. So 3 times higher is good. The numbers are good. For me, not good enough. We got to get more.
Mr. Homan, what's your message for the sanctuary cities? You just said we're putting up roadblocks. Do you have a message for them for Chicago, for example?
Well, Attorney General Pam Bondi is going to investigate them. We're going to hold them accountable. Sanctuaries are sanctuary criminals. End of story. They're sanctuary for criminals. Let us in the county jail to arrest the bad guy in the safety and security of a county jail. It's safer for the alien. It's safer for the officer. It's certainly safer for the community. Any sanctuary city that purposely release public safety threats back into public is stupid. I mean, let us arrest the bad guy in the jail, because what the sanctuary cities are seeing, I already see the stories. Non-criminals are being arrested at a higher rate, and they're going to keep being arrested at a higher rate, because we can't arrest that bad guy in the jail. We got to go to the community. When we go in the community, we're going to find the bad guy. When we find the bad guy, he's probably with others that aren't a criminal priority, but they're going to get arrested too. We're not going to tell ICE agents, ignore the oath you took, ignore ignore the laws of immigration enforcement, just arrest a criminal? No, we're taking everybody. So sanctuary cities is going to get exactly what they don't want. More agents in the neighborhoods and more non-criminals being arrested because they forced us in the community.
Mr. Holman, the Pope this morning had some very harsh words for the...
I got harsh words for the Pope. Pope wants to fix the Catholic Church. I'm saying this as a lifelong Catholic. I was baptized Catholic. I was First Communion as a Catholic. Confirmation as a Catholic. He ought to fix the Catholic Church and concentrate on his work and leave border enforcement to us. He wants to attack us for securing our border. He's got a wall around the Vatican, does he not? So he's got a wall around to protect his people and himself, but we can't have a wall around the United States. So I wish he'd stick to the Catholic Church and fix that and leave border enforcement to us.
What about your meeting with ICE about making sure that migrants don't get back into the country? How did that go? You said you'd be talking with ICE.
No, it wasn't back in the country. There's a learning curve. I mean, I found out that ICE, some of the people they arrested, they released back in the community because there's some of the personnel are still acting on the last 4 years of non-enforcement and releasing people for various reasons. That ends. So I've talked to ICE, and the acting director of ICE has sent instructions out that no one's to be released after we arrest them without the clearance of headquarters. There's going to be a significant medical issue we can't take care of, and of course there'll be some, but the number of releases were unacceptable, and that's been fixed.
Sir, is there any plans to go into these leftist groups like No Mas Muertes and these protests across the nation where those likely illegal aliens are flying foreign flags around us?
Watch to see what happens.
That shit was gangster. My only advice is that mic stand thing was way too damn low, so like I had to crank up the audio on that one. I mean, I what he said was awesome, but I want that microphone right here, bro. I want it right there. I want to hear that shit. With this microphone, I have to remind myself I have to, use the big boy voice. You probably hear this one better. This is on Fox News. Tom Homan says DOJ has seemed to have identified those who leaked the details about the ICE raids, and they originated from the FBI. The call was coming from inside the house.
Where are these leaks coming from?
Well, look, we think it's coming from inside, and we know the first leak of Aurora is under current investigation. We think we identified that person under investigation right now. The California leak, Secretary Noem, she's correct. Some of the information we're receiving tends to lead toward the FBI. But I talked to the Deputy Attorney General all this weekend. They've opened up a criminal investigation. And they have promised that not only this person lose their job and lose their pension, they're going to go to jail. They're going to criminally prosecute. So we're all over it. We got the DHS IG investigating the first one. Have a pretty good idea what happened. Can't share a lot because it's under investigation, but the IG's opened up a criminal investigation on the second one. We're sending a strong message. It's just not, giving the bad guys a heads up so they can escape apprehension. Right? We're arresting, giving the Venezuela gang a heads up so we can't arrest them. You're putting officers' lives at risk. It's only a matter of time if we walk into a place where there's going to be a bad guy doesn't care. He's going to be sitting and wait for the officers to show up and ambush them. Hip to hold these people responsible in a criminal fashion. To hold these people responsible in a criminal fashion.
Tom, where are these leaks coming?
Straight gangster. Follow up on the Yeezy.com. No more Nazi sales, according to TMZ. Yeezy goes offline. Of course, if you're not aware, this was the ad at the Super Bowl.
So what's up, guys? I spent like all the money for the commercial on these new teeth. So once again, I had to shoot it on the iPhone. Go to Yeezy.com.
If Kanye West had a football, I think he would be.
Those guys are looking. I mentioned it last time, but what the hell happened to these guys? They look like they haven't slept in years. I mean, it's bad. But yeah, apparently Kanye West posts "I'm a Nazi," and you could buy this swastika shirt on Yeezy, and then now the site's down. So I don't know. Chase Geiser over at Infowars made a funny ad for the shop, pretty much doing that whole spend all the money on supplements, and there's supplements everywhere. What are you doing, Ye? What's going on? Halfway into the show, at the 46-minute mark. This is going to be another long. We're going to have a long Tuesday, maybe. DarkDox shop is still up at darkdox.me/shop. Get thumb drives, projectors, MP4 players with all of the Alex Jones films, all of the DarkDox films, Zeitgeist, Esoteric Agenda, the Jordan Maxwell slideshows, the Behold a Pale Horse. We got PDFs of all these great books, None Dare Call It Conspiracy, and so many more. And so we made these things specifically. So if they take the internet down, you have a micro SD card with these files, the PDFs, the MP4s, the MP3s, podcasts, everything you need to share what happened at the end of the world with the people, as long as you have a little solar charger to charge these tiny little devices. They charge like a cell phone. They have a little internal battery. We got buttons. We got vinyl records and stickers and T-shirts, all kinds of stuff. They don't have swastikas on them, though. And we got some comic books. We made some films. Check out our stuff. Sacred Owls is working on a new album. And we got a new lineup. We got exciting things in store for you. And yes, please go to thealexjonesstore.com. They have some cool new stuff. They got these silver coins that are pretty neat. I just got the Atomic Defense. I'm 4 days into that. I feel good. I really like these daggers. They got these daggers with 1776 and Infowars on them for $79. But if you are a VIP member like I am, it's only $30 a month, and you get $40 in store credit, up to 40% off. You have multiple entries into the raffles, like they're giving away that Raptor, and you can control your membership stop anytime. And you also get access to the lost tapes, all of the Alex Jones MP3s from 2001 to 2008. Amazing stuff in there. If you are an audiophile, I just reached out to Unjected because I just found my fiance on there, and I'm going to send them this now because I want to be a sponsor for Unjected. It's a fantastic dating site for people that are unvaccinated. If you are a pureblood and you have never taken any of these shots, then you should check out Unjected. And I found my soulmate on there. I'm done. We're getting married. She's my Valentine. I'm going to go visit her. She's moving down next month. It's only been 3 months. You're going to find your person on this site. So check out unjected.com. And no, they didn't pay me to do this, but I'd like them to start. What do you think? Huh? Gateway pundit Steve Bannon pleads guilty in latest lawfare case involving private donation effort that successfully built miles of the border wall when Congress wouldn't. This is bullshit, guys. I mean, it's just what they're doing to Alex Jones. He's still in the courts right now. They tried to steal Infowars, literally storm the building without a court order. Anyway, but apparently War Room host also being persecuted. Former chief strategist for President Trump, Steve Bannon, pleaded guilty Tuesday in the latest lawfare case involving the We Built the Wall national security effort. Steve Bannon is pleading guilty on one count of scheme to defraud in the first degree. What does that even mean? Like, if there's no... Who's the victim of this crime? If there's no victim... There's no crime. Like, please explain this to me. Now Steve Bannon is pleading guilty. We'll see 3 years of unconditional discharge. Gross. Steve Bannon was already pardoned for his role in the border wall effort by President Trump in 2021 before President Trump left office. But then New York state officials charged him in a similar case. What does New York have to do? They don't have a border in New York. Similar case knowing President Trump could not pardon him. What? This is how New York officials spent their time plotting against their political opponent. And then they say, oh, Trump's going to go against his political... Yeah, you should. These guys are criminals. The U.S. veteran, they're the reason why we're having this illegal immigration crisis and all of the crime and those murders. The blood is on your hand for all of those girls that got raped and killed in this country. We've been covering for, 6, 7, 8 years now. And then when they tried to build a wall and you say walls don't work and somehow they're racist, fuck all of you. You guys are the worst. You guys are the scum of society, and that's why the Democrats are done. We won. Everyone's waking up to this bullshit. Surprise move, Google cut Pride Month from calendar app. Let that sink in. For several years now, a slew of multinational corporations spent the month of June making communal proclamations and Pride Month everywhere. Woke companies from YouTube and Mercedes-Benz to Lenovo, Nestle, and Sephora updated their logos as June began. Yeah, I'm sure you remember this if you've been on the internet. Yet these corporations are only force-feeding Americans and Europeans their pansexual, non-binary, transgender propaganda. It's a mouthful. Pandering businesses are careful not to promote their pride to Muslim countries, right? If they have like a Muslim Twitter profile or whatever, it would be the regular one and not because yeah. But yeah, good for Google. You guys are still evil. And really, the search lately, I'm starting to use Yandex as like my default. Is that crazy? But it's way more accurate. Yandex.com. They have an American version. Elon Musk demands impeachment of corrupt Obama-appointed judge for blocking Doge access to key treasury payment system. We covered that. And look at this weasel. Look at this guy. He doesn't look human. He looks like some sort of like one of those grays. He looks like a gray alien. He looks like a pencil neck. All right, I'll stop. German MEP humiliates Gate-funded Spiegel reporter. How independent is your reporting if Bill Gates pays you? Let's watch. I said play.
Wie unabhängig ist Ihre Berichterstattung, wenn Sie sich von Bill Gates bezahlen lassen? Sind Sie ein Journalist oder was sind Sie? Sind Sie Teil des Putins? Sind Sie ein Journalist? Ja? Und sind Sie ein unabhängiger Journalist? Wo ist Ihre Unabhängigkeit, wenn Sie sich von Bill Gates bezahlen lassen? 5 Millionen in den letzten 2 Jahren. Lassen Sie sich von Putin bezahlen? Sie lassen sich von Bill Gates bezahlen. Das steht schon mal fest. Warum verbreiten Sie solche Lügen und völlig unbelegte Behauptungen? Warum machen Sie das?
He looks like he's gonna
Warum
cry.
verbreiten Sie bewusst Sachen, die falsch sind, die nicht belegt sind? Warum machen Sie das?
You know what? For our listeners, I'm gonna.
Wie unabhängig ist
How
Ihre
independent is your
Berichterstattung, wenn Sie
reporting
sich von Bill Gates
if Bill
bezahlen
Gates
lassen?
pays you?
Sind Sie ein Journalist
Are you
oder was
a
sind Sie?
journalist? You say you are?
Sind Sie Teil des Putins? Sind Sie ein
Are you a
Journalist?
journalist?
Ja?
Yes?
Und sind Sie ein
And
unabhängiger
you are an
Journalist?
independent journalist?
Wo ist Ihre
Where's your
Unabhängigkeit, wenn Sie sich
independence
von Bill Gates
if
bezahlen
Bill
lassen?
Gates pays you?
5 Millionen in den
5
letzten 2
million in the
Jahren.
last 2 years.
Lassen Sie sich von Putin bezahlen?
Do you let Putin pay you?
Sie lassen sich von Bill Gates
You let
bezahlen.
Bill
Das steht
Gates
schon
pay
mal
you.
fest.
That's a fact.
Warum verbreiten Sie solche Lügen?
Why
und
spread
völlig
such lies
unbelegte
and baseless
Behauptungen? Warum machen
claims?
Sie das?
Why do you do
Welches
this?
Verhältnis haben Sie zum Russischen?
What's your link to the Russian
Warum
regime?
verbreiten
Why do you
Sie
deliberately
bewusst
spread
Sachen,
false,
die falsch sind, die nicht belegt sind? Warum
unproven
machen Sie
information? Why do you do this? Look at his face.
Das? Machen Sie das deswegen, weil Sie von
Because Bill Gates pays you.
Oder sind Sie einfach so
Or
verkommen
you're
als
just
Mensch?
morally corrupt.
Warum machen Sie das?
Why do you do this?
Welches Verhältnis haben Sie zum
What's your link to...
Welches Verhältnis
What's
haben
your
Sie
relationship
zu dem
to the
Bundeskanzler?
chancellor?
Das wird ziemlich albern.
It's getting silly, Mr.
Danke,
Worth.
dass Sie das verstanden
Thank you
haben,
for
dass Sie
understanding
völlig
that what you're doing
etwas
here is
Albernes hier
ridiculous.
machen. Danke, dass Sie das eingesehen haben. Guten Appetit. Ich finde, das
Thank
ist
you
ein
for
auf dem guten
acknowledging
Weg.
that you're on the right path. Congratulations.
Prost. Na zdrowie. Na zdrowie.
Very slick. I like it. Look at that smile. We're going to be seeing more of that guy. How Obama and McConnell bipartisanly screwed the farmers of Illinois and Kentucky. Yes, Jacob Ingalls, Data Battle Z, brought this to us. Thanks, Data Battle Z.
It is a massive and free way to help spread the information and win the information war. Go on X, go to @RealAlexJones or @Infowars or @Harrison H. Smith and share the videos that we come out with during the show. We really do appreciate it. And heck, download the show yourself, cut out clips yourself, upload them, monetize the account. We don't care. Just get the information out there. At the end of the day, this has been the strategy that has led to all the success that we're currently enjoying. So let's continue that. And, of course, we cannot and could not have done it without you. So thank you for all of your participation, my fellow veterans of the info war. With that, I'm very happy to welcome my guest, Jacob Ingalls. He's the publisher of the Central Florida Post, and he's with us today to discuss this bombshell report in the Gateway Pundit, how Obama and McConnell bipartisanly screwed the farmers of Illinois and Kentucky. You can follow him on X @Jacob Ingalls. Jacob, welcome back to the show, sir.
Great to be back, Harrison. I would say that red velvet dinner jacket is Roger Stone approved.
Well, thank you very much. It's very high praise. I got it on sale for Christmas. Thank you for that. This story that you wrote, pretty mind-blowing. Let me just read the first sentence, and if you could elaborate on it for me. You say, any day now, a federal court decision could strip 454 farmers in Kentucky and Illinois of their land rights, potentially allowing the government to seize over 70,000 acres of Illinois' farmland without compensation. What are they justifying this move with, Jacob?
So first off, Harrison, for anybody who hasn't read the article yet, the Olmsted Dam project, which has been under construction for decades, completed a little over a decade ago. And when they initially tested implementing and releasing the water, they had some serious issues, and water flooded 70,000 acres worth of farmland. I mean, this is America's breadbasket. 454 farmers lost their entire crop, and they've been experiencing residual impacts and issues for the past decade. And what they ended up doing is eventually, after they were able to assess the damage, they filed a lawsuit against the federal government. They demanded to be compensated, and they have every right to be compensated. Now that it's gone through the courts, the government, very interestingly, is claiming that they've passed the statute of limitations. And oh, by the way, you passed the statute of limitations. We're not going to compensate you for the damage we caused you. We're not going to compensate you for ruining your family's farm, but we're also interested in seizing the land. So it is just an outrageous measure that's going through the courts right now. And it's just another example of how these activist judges, working hand in hand with DOJ and other federal entities and government organizations, really show that they don't care about the average, hardworking, everyday American.
You know, it's just such a typical story for so many different reasons. Like, there's so many different threads that all sort of seem like they, combine here. The lack of assistance or help for Americans who, by no fault of their own, have been, harmed in some way. In this case, it wasn't even a natural disaster. It was actually harm done to them by the government, but no money, no help for them, no care shown for them at all. But also the, confiscating of farmland, another trend that we've seen, the absolute destruction of our domestic food chain production. It's been happening at a pace, whether it's because of bird flu and killing all of the chickens, or it's just any of the other just massive disasters that are crippling our ability to feed ourselves. It seems like so much is sort of wrapped up in this one story. Yeah, so
that's a great segment, about 24 minutes. Link in the description. Thanks, Ben, and good job, Jacob. He was on OAN at 6:30 as well, so check that out. He was on with Matt Gaetz. Shit. How Obama and McConnell bipartisanly screwed the farmers of Illinois and Kentucky. I read a little bit of it. Any day now, federal court decision could strip 454 farmers in Kentucky and Illinois of their land rights, potentially allowing the government to seize over 70,000 acres of America's farmland without compensation. This decision would affect thousands of people, endangering the livelihoods of families who've worked these lands for generations and supporting local communities and economies. Trump needs to get on this. That's just crazy. Follow Jacob Engels. Jacob Engels on X. Isaiah Carter, that guy from the other day that was like blasting the Democratic Party. He's been posting some interesting stuff. Apparently, he retweeted Nick Sorter. Vote to confirm Tulsi Gabbard, which was originally scheduled for tonight, has been postponed due to dustings of snow on the ground here in D.C. Come on, stop stalling, confirm Tulsi. That's crazy. Come on. Brendan O'Leary has put together another fantastic compilage of Bohemian Grove 2024 cremation of care low jinx on Saturday. Here's his little synopsis.
I'm standing in the spot where during the Obama presidency, we were here, about 6 of us, and after a lakeside talk, an Italian diplomat came out. We talked to him for a little while, and he said to us that he was in there, had a speech about how to deal with Vladimir Putin. When he said how to deal with Vladimir Putin, he said how to deal with Vladimir Putin. Just saying.
Beware of the big green dragon that sits on your doorstep. He eats little boys.
Love that intro. So this is at the gates of the Bohemian Grove in Monte Rio, Northern California, where during midsummer they gather, when I say they, the global elites, this exclusive club gather to a ceremony called the Cremation of Care, where they sacrifice an effigy of a child to the flames in front of a 40-foot statue of an owl in order to rid themselves of a conscience. Dull care, be gone, dull care. Members have included the Bushes, Reagan, Nixon, Henry Kissinger. Recently, a silent auction was hosted by Conan O'Brien. Nixon called the Bohemian Grove the most,
It was
quote,
right
faggoty
there
goddamn thing he's ever
where I
seen.
saw David Rockefeller drive out in a medical limo van with his staff while in a wheelchair. It was right here where I'm standing where an Italian diplomat came out and
Yeah, so definitely check out his stuff.
told us what he
He's
just...
going to be producing a whole lot more over at Mindo Brindo on YouTube. I mean, they've been doing this for 14 years, going to that gate. We drove all the way from Florida to that gate right there. If you go to sacredowls.com, you can see our film for free, or you can buy it on DVD or Blu-ray. Sacred Owls, We Are Here to Save the World, which is taken from Ghostbusters, which is where we also took our art from. But yeah, if you scroll down here, you have the whole film. And we're going to watch the whole thing right now. No, I'm not going to do that to you. But I just want to pull a clip. Ooh, it's taking a while to load. That's not good. What was this? This is on BitChute. I mean, granted, it's a over 3-hour film, 1080. I'll just do this. Yeah, so you can watch the full thing at some point. But here's a clip from Chapter 3, Sacred Owls at Cremation of Care. And this is
Knew
all
Trump would show up here one
clips
day.
from Greg Fernandez Jr. and Brendan O'Leary.
What do you think?
Over the years that I produced into a film.
Volunteer?
Situate. An hour long.
Trigger.
And it's been crazy there over 14 years.
He said that he didn't want anybody to get hurt. I said people are being hurt every day because of those people up there. Hello?
By the millions. Every day.
There's Mark Dice there. But they've been capturing this stuff for all these years, so I want to give a big, heartfelt shout out to Brendan O'Leary. He's been, fighting some cancer, and it looks like, he's going in the right direction. But give him some support on YouTube. Check out what he's been up to. He's making these awesome videos, and no one else has them. It's wild stuff. Yes, Hegman, PI. He was on the Alex Jones show this morning. Pennsylvania investigators found strong evidence of criminal network handling Trump attempted assassin in Butler, Pennsylvania.
As we got closer to the truth, we began to be harassed by the FBI. In fact, I've never been escorted out of a county quicker than I have by the FBI in this investigation. This happened to me twice. Escorted to the county line the last time, told not to come back. And of course, we have other assets in my stead, so no problem there.
And listen, you don't build yourself up, but Posobiec is with Trump a lot. He does things for Trump. I'll leave it at that. He's been in intelligence. That's not a secret. But he works directly as a gopher for Trump. He doesn't brag about it, but it's not a secret. So I'll say it. Trump wanted this done. He wanted you to investigate. And imagine then the FBI obviously knows that. You got a team out there, and they're literally in your face. Can you describe the incidences and what they did?
When myself and another investigator were engaged in conducting interviews in the Bethel Park area, obviously we were under surveillance by the Bethel Park police. And I'm going to hear about this later, I can guarantee you. But anyway, we were under surveillance, and within probably 15 minutes, that surveillance turned from a local to a federal surveillance. There is a network right now, as we speak, that still exists in Western Pennsylvania and across this country that is interconnected with the intelligence agencies, and people have to understand this, that want Trump dead. I mean, Trump, his family, everyone he ever spoke to in his life, I suppose, they want him dead. That is operational. That has not been shut down, Thomas Crooks, in my investigative opinion, based on hours and upon hours of research and investigation personally. Did not act alone. He was, however, and this is based on my findings, he was, however, the dead person on that roof. Okay, without doubt, because there was some issue about someone else being there. I'm going to tell you, that's someone else that was supposedly on that roof. Without giving away too much, I'll just tell you this. I looked at that man in his eyeballs and identified him, and he's very much alive. And that was as of September, October of last year. So after that, I'm not so sure, but I can tell you, on that roof, that body that was shown is Thomas Matthew Crooks. And as Jack Posobiec, who you had on, who's got the book Bulletproof, interesting, very, very, in fact, required reading. I would urge everyone to get Bulletproof.
So yeah, definitely check out the book Bulletproof, and check out Hegman Report on X. Link in the description also. And I don't have a lower third. I'm just floating here. Holy crap, that's not good. Very unprofessional. Our buddy Tony in the chat. Regular at Hack Miami. He actually posted. He wrote this article. Ryan Montgomery, child safety warrior. When Ryan Montgomery isn't busy tending to his businesses, you can find him demonstrating another hacking trick on his Instagram to educate people on protecting themselves online and offline. Yeah, his videos are pretty cool. Check him out. Such as how to prevent website from stealing your data, remove data from Google searches, and protect your device from malicious charging cables. That's a big one. This is one of many reasons why the 31-year-old from Delray Beach is one of the most sought-after speakers and guests for conferences and podcasts around the world, specifically after he gained attention for his efforts to combat the plague of child exploitation on the internet for his heroism. He is known as a child safety warrior. Kaplan News spoke with Montgomery over the phone after meeting him at a hacker conference called Hack Miami. So yeah, definitely check out this article from Antonio Jimenez over at, get a screenshot of this. This is at FIU, our alma mater. And yeah, here's a clip from when he did that thing over at DarkDox. He was mad that I posted this, and but he never told me. Like, so come on the show and tell me why you were mad about this. It's a good clip.
I'd like a little bit of advice. Like, I've been kind of in a similar realm of mostly focusing on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and stuff, and I ended up finding my way into incest groups, and that's a great way to find, you know, a lot of these people that are soliciting either material or trying to inquire to meet somebody for nefarious, illegal, minor-related things. Yes. And in doing this, I ended up getting kicked off of all of the platforms. What's interesting is they kicked me off for reporting it, and then the pages stayed up. All the splash emojis and eggplant comments got to stay up. Everybody, you know, that was involved in all of it, they don't get kicked off. I get kicked off for reporting it. Have you found anything like that? How do we hold these media companies, accountable?
I mean, it was, so when I did speak to the media companies in the beginning, it was not the reporters that were the issue. All of the reporters that seemed ecstatic around the story. Like, the ones that I did speak to were all like, wow, this is insane. We need to show people this. Like, parents need to know that this site exists, because it wasn't just pedophiles on this site. There was children on this site that were selling their bodies to grown women and men, not just men. And I wanted parents to know about it, and these reporters, like, I was under the full impression it was going to get published, regardless of how that data was acquired. So every one of them came back with the same issue, saying that their legal team didn't feel comfortable running it. Like, the exact same result. I have it all timestamped, recorded. I mean, everything is provable that nobody wanted to touch this, and kids got hurt because of it. Right. And that's not their fault, but it contributed. So it pissed me off, obviously.
Yeah, so you can check that out over at darkdox.me. We're working on a new site, so some of our links are going to be changing pretty soon. Coming up on maybe not tomorrow's episode, I might tease a little bit of it. I might ease into this. But we're working with a young woman by the name of Tina, who has some bombshell information. She works with Predator Hunter Nation, and she has a wild story. I'll just leave it at that. So definitely tune in to the subsequent DarkDox Digest. We're doing this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But as a teaser, definitely check out on YouTube Predator Hunter Nation. If you are on Rumble, then you should go ahead and subscribe to us. Rumble.com/DarkDox. BitChute.com/ Actually, I'm going to keep these tabbed out because I'm going to upload this episode later. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and tab that out because I'm going to need that too. So this is how I roll. I do it live. If you're on X, we're Sacred Owls Unite, because DarkDox got banned back when it was Twitter and that hasn't been fixed. If you like what I do and you're on Cash App, maybe $1, maybe $5, maybe $12.95 so I can buy a chicken dinner. It would be greatly appreciated. Cash that out /DarkDox or scan that little code there. And that is this episode. We are back. Yeah, we got some shorts. So when I'm doom scrolling late at night, I throw things into the DarkDox Network that I think we should watch. And I think they're a fun way to end the episode. What do you think?
Anyone saying Black Lives Matter too? 11. That's how many times I can't breathe. 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 Eric Garner said I can't breathe before he was killed by police. So I guess
this poor child has been mentally abused by some Democrat.
those 3 words only mean stop if you're white. 15. That's how old Cameron
And now they're using him to psychologically abuse everyone. Look at these people and how torn up they are.
Sterling was when he lost his father. 15. That's how old Cameron Sterling was when he said we must protest the right way. 15. That's how old Cameron Sterling was when he said peace, not guns. 20. So why were 20 officers shot in retaliation when all that separates black and blue is only a few shades? 52. It's been 52 years since the Civil Rights Act passed and everyone supposedly became
He did
equal.
not write this.
Well, guess what? We're in 2016 and films about equality are still part of the fantasy genre. 102. Anyone saying Black Lives Matter too? 11. That's how many times I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
That was jarring when I first saw that. I had to watch it a couple times and be like, what if you know what show that's from, can you post that in the comments? That is a wild performance.
This is not.
Trump ends illegal immigration. Tom Homan explodes on fussy Dems crying about border.
An American way of dealing with the stranger. You can talk all you want about whether the poor border control is overwhelmed. That makes no excuse. Any child in our care is our children.
Let me explain to you why I'm sitting here so frustrated. Because I'm the only one in this room who's wore a green uniform and been on that line.
Any children out there are our children? It's a hot take. See what Tom Homan says about that.
Frustrated. Because I'm the only one.
Any child in our care is our children.
Let me explain to you why I'm sitting here so frustrated. Because I'm the only one in this room who's wore a green uniform and been on that line. I'm the only one in this room who found dead aliens on a trail that were abandoned by smugglers who just left them there because they weren't worth any money anymore. I'm the only one in this room that stood in the back of a tractor trailer surrounded by 19 dead aliens, including a 5-year-old little boy that suffocated in death in his father's arms. I was there, and I saw it, and I smelled it, and it's terrible. And I still have nightmares to this day. I was in Phoenix, Arizona when you couldn't pay the smuggling fees. You were tortured. One person was stabbed in the face 22 times because you couldn't pay a smuggling fee. And we keep talking about open borders, abolish ICE, let's not detain anybody, let's let everybody go. That entices more people to come.
Exactly.
This isn't just about enforcing laws, it's about saving lives. I found enough dead bodies in my day. I got a stack of dead bodies here. I've seen a lot of pictures today, but no one wants to see these pictures. Because they're angel moms and dads. These children were died here at the hands of people that crossed the border because we have an open border. The more we entice people to make this journey, more women, 31% of women are being raped. Children are dying. And I said months ago, if we don't close the loopholes, more women will be raped, more children will die. But it's like no one's listening. They'd rather point to the men and women of the border patrol, men and women of ICE who have an American flag on their shoulder and serve their nation. People are dying.
This is not an American way of dealing with the stranger.
We're listening. And, yeah, that shit hits, man. How could you look at that guy and be like, oh, he's an asshole, he's a bad guy? Like, you can see it in these people's eyes. AG Pam Bondi sues Illinois and Chicago over sanctuary status.
What they're doing is they are choosing illegal aliens over the safety and security of their own citizens and the men and women of law enforcement who are out there trying to protect their citizens. Not only did we sue today the city of Chicago, we sued the state of Illinois, we sued the mayor, we sued the governor, and we sued others. And let me be very clear, if you don't comply with federal law, you're going to be next. What they're doing is they are choosing illegal aliens over the safety and security of...
Yeah. Chuck Schumer accidentally gives Doge the best endorsement ever. I mean, this is too good.
Also know this is just the beginning. If Doge attacks USAID today, then you can be sure they'll move on to another target tomorrow. Who knows? Maybe it'll be the Postal Service, or the IRS, or even the Social Security Administration. They could be next. Or maybe our national security agencies. Also know this is just the beginning. If Doge attacks USAID today, then you can be sure they'll move on to another target tomorrow.
I love it. That about does it. I'm going to make myself bigger so I don't forget for the next episode. That's how that works, in case you were wondering. And we're gonna take down the browser to come back to the outer space, and Doge, get back to work. He needs to go back to sleep. He's just been working, no sleep. All right, it's time to get back to SeaWorld. And yeah, it's been fun. 9:21. A little long, but we managed to get through all of the tabs, and we're going to do it again tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is Christian Coffins once more saying, beware, take care.
DarkDox Digest. DarkDox Digest. DarkDox Digest. DarkDox Digest.
I would like to give all of you a big shout out of great appreciation for helping me do this, having the will to do this 4 days a week. Thank you.
DarkDox Digest.
This is Jersey Joe.
DarkDox Digest.
Digest.